And now the U.S. has offered a $10 million reward for information on a senior commander of the Hezbollah resistance movement in Iraq. The U.S. State Department has accused Sheikh Mohammed al-Qatharani of what it called funding armed groups in Iraq. The announcement indicates the latest case of Washington's assassination strategy in the Arab country. Earlier this year, the U.S. murdered Iran's top commander, Lieutenant General Qasem Soleimani, and deputy commander of the Iraqi Popular Mobilization Units, Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, at the Baghdad airport. The move sparked angry protests in Iran and Iraq and drew strong criticism from the international community. Shortly after that assassination, the Iraq's parliament voted to expel U.S. troops from the country. And now joining us out of Ontario is Jason Unruhe, political commentator. Hello, Jason. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're safe. Your thoughts on this latest ploy by the U.S. to, again, possibly carry out an assassination on Iraqi soil?
Well, I think it's very clear that this is essentially a bounty. This is a wanted dead or alive, preferably dead kind of tactic from the United States, very reminiscent of the Old West. Well, this seems to be a tactic that they're starting to use more often. As we've seen previously, a $15 million bounty was placed on the head of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro. It's very interesting that they should suddenly change tactics and resort to bounties rather than trying to carry out the operations themselves. I mean, the United States is no stranger to using Mossad to assassinate various leaders, various figures throughout the Middle East. It's something that's been going on for a very long time. As we recall, it was not too long ago that members of Mossad were assassinating Iranian nuclear scientists in an attempt to prevent a nuclear weapons program that didn't exist. I think this maybe shows some frustration on the part of the United States. Obviously, they don't want the Iraqi contingent of Hezbollah there because they are doing such a great job of building cooperation between Hezbollah, Iraq, and Iran. I mean, this is a very strong union you've got against ISIS, and I think that's what the United States doesn't want. They don't want people of the Middle East allying together outside of their control, and that's the real reason that they're doing this. Well, one of the things I think the problem on the ground the United States is facing it that while the current president has promised many times to pull troops out of the country, to suddenly put more of them back in after the disastrous actions of assassinating Soleimani is something that maybe perhaps the public would not be so happy about, something the political establishment may not be interested in. However, they still do need to break up that union of the countries, and one of the ways of doing that would be to assassinate this Hezbollah commander inside of Iraq. And one of the ways that they can do that without putting more boots on the ground is to essentially place a bounty on his head, place a price on his life. I mean, Hezbollah, far from how the United States likes to characterize them, there are many Jewish groups in the United States who particularly do support Hezbollah and their efforts to defend essentially what sovereignty they have from Israel. So this is a popular force. This is very far from the notion of simply pull it. We stood very much for the independence of the Middle East.
I want to thank you for joining us, Jason, there, and be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Joining us out of Ontario, Mr. Jason Unruhe, political commentator.